Humble walnut, a landscaper's nightmare, a nuisance, cursed to a solitary life left out in the rain, ignored and alone, left flattened and clinging to life, until one day, nice. Hey guys, thanks for joining in as we go step by step through the process of making walnut ink. We will be using the black walnut for this. The black walnut tree grows from 75 to 100 feet and can be found in many places in North America and throughout Europe. So it should be pretty easy to spot. I already know of a few trees in the area, so let's go. Here's a black walnut tree I found on the side of the road. The black walnut ripens in early autumn, so we're still a little early, but there are plenty that have fallen already. We'll be back in a few weeks to get more. Sometimes you can find a walnut tree in the most unlikely of places. From a distance, I was able to spot this very large black walnut tree hiding behind this post office. I'm sure they won't mind if I take a few. To make a small batch of walnut ink, you only need about 12 to 24 walnuts. If you're like me and regularly use walnut ink, you may want to make sure you have enough until next season. I think that'll do. Let's head back and get to work. And finally, we are ready to make some spectacular black walnut ink. All we need right now is some water and the walnuts we just gathered. I've let these walnuts age a few weeks, but you don't have to. Even when using fresh green walnuts, they quickly turn a dark brown color. It'll just add a little bit to your cooking time. Let's go ahead and add the walnuts. I will be using about 2 dozen in this size pot. You may need to adjust that number depending on what size container you're using. Now we just fill the rest of the pot with water and cook on low heat. The water should be kept just under boiling. If you see it starting to boil, dial it back. We're looking at about 16 hours of cooking time. I hope you didn't have other plans. Every so often you will want to stir the pot. Soon you will see it has turned a nice amber color. And after about 8 hours, we will want to separate the walnut husk from the walnut nut. We'll need 2 containers, one to let the walnuts cool off a bit and another for the waste. You'll want to get a pair of gloves for this part, unless you like permanently stained hands. Be careful, they're hot. After removing the walnut husks, add them back into the pot. Then top off the pot with water once more and cook covered for another 8 hours. We will now want to remove all the husks by straining the liquid through some linen or even an old pillowcase. This will permanently stain whatever you use, so think twice before using that heirloom tablecloth Grandma gave you. Oh no, all the best pigment is still trapped in the husks. Set them free by squeezing the heck out of them. You may want to let them cool down a bit. They will be extremely hot. Now we'll filter the liquid through one of those old school cloth coffee filters. Why do they still sell these? Back on the stove it goes, and no more adding water. We'll be reducing the liquid until it turns into the perfect hue of walnut ink. It's always better to go darker, as you can always add water when using it. Remember, we are trying to reduce the liquid down, so be sure to leave the cover off and let that steam escape. And give it a good stir every so often. Finally, it's time to bottle up that ink like you bottle up your feelings. Walnut ink, being an organic material, has a tendency to mold, and we wouldn't want that after all this hard work. So what's the secret to preserve it? Vodka. That's right, what destroys your liver can preserve your ink. About 10% vodka is all you need. In this case, it's about 2 ounces. You're allowed to drink any leftover vodka at this point. Well, that's it, guys. We were able to get a total of 72 ounces. That should last us quite a while. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a like. If you would like to see some of my walnut ink drawings and paintings, head on over to my Instagram. Be sure to follow me there. And if you're thinking to yourself, who would do all this work just for some ink? You can always buy some from me instead. I'll have info on that in the description.